Hello, computer science students. I wanted to make this video to show you how to install Python and Visual Studio Code on your computer at home. I'm going to be using Windows. This is a clean install of Windows that doesn't have any Python or Visual Studio Code in it, so I hope to show you how to do it step by step. So let's get started. Alright, so in the browser, what we will do is, first of all, we're just going to do a quick search for Python in Google. And you're going to see that there are downloads there. So I'm going to click on downloads. And this takes me to Python. It's going to say download the latest version of Python. As of this moment, it's Python 3.8.2. Make sure that you are using Python 3 point something and not 2 point something, and then you're fine. Probably the latest version of 3 is the best bet. Now, if you're using Mac OS or Linux or other, there's options there. Mac OS should work very similarly. But because, and whatever operating system you have, it'll automatically, just this link will be updated, will be the correct one for that, I believe. So here we go. And I don't use Windows. I use Linux to do programming at home, if I do some. And so I'm going to be kind of stumbling through here with you. So I thought this was a good video for you to take, just in case some of you might be struggling to install it at home, because I'll be struggling as well. And looks like, so what does it say here? Python 3.8.2 tells you all about it. This is probably more information than we want to see. So Windows users, here we go. I'm going to go back to that last one here, and it says looking for Python with a different OS, Python for Windows. I think that's the one that I want. So there we go, Python for Windows. Latest, and here we go. You could end up installing Python 2 if you wanted to. Python 2 is going to be gone, I think, in less than a year. So, and we use Python 3 in our classes anyway. So you're going to click on Python 3, and let's see what happens. Oh, this is the same program we have, window we had before. Files, here we go. You have to scroll all the way down to get the files. I would recommend you just getting the executable installer. You can get the web-based installer as well. I'm going to get the executable one. Most of you will probably have a 64-bit machine at home, so 64-bit is fine. If you have a really older computer and you don't think you have a 64-bit machine, you can go to x86, okay, and you can do that. I'm just going to quickly show you how to check what kind of machine you have. So let me switch to my desktop capture for a moment, and I'm going to show you. So what I would do is I would go to my start window, and I would right-click. If you right-click on it, you can actually go to properties. And where is this here? Computer management, I believe. No, don't do that. So we want to go to computers, let's say computer, and okay, here's an easy way to do it. You go to your files, and then you're going to go to this computer, this PC. You can right-click on it and go to properties. Right-click it, go on properties. It'll show you everything about your computer. I'm showing you everything about my computer. This this tells you right here, system type. If it says 64-bit, you're good to go for 64-bit. If it says 32-bit, there, we're going to go back now. So I'm going to go back to my browser view. Okay, so if it says 32-bit there, you're going to want to download one of these three from here. And I would just recommend the x86. That's 32-bit. But most of us will have 64-bit machines probably. So then we would select x86 64 executable. So let's see what happens. It's downloading it. It's telling me it has about less than a minute left. And once it's installed, see, I'm using Chrome. With Chrome, you can just click down here, and it will, let me just show you. If you click on it, even as it's downloading, it'll say it's going to open once it's downloaded. So now that it's downloaded, it's opening, it says install now. What I would do is make sure that you have this checked off, add Python 3.8 to the path. It makes it easier later on. If you do want to use something like Genie or something else, adding it to the path ensures that you can use Python from anywhere. Install launcher, that's a good idea. And just install now. It includes pip and idle, those are important. And install now. And that's it. So I'm going to say yes. It's installing Python. Hopefully you can see this. And it's almost done. Once it's done, we're going to install Visual Studio Code. I'm going to try to keep this video under 10 minutes if I can. You can always fast forward through these parts, but if you're doing it with me, it'll probably take about the same amount. So that's it. So you can close it. Python should now be installed. You can check it by going down, and I'd recommend you do this. Go to your Start menu, and then click PYTH, and you should see Python pop up there. So you can click on Python. This is just going to show you your command prompt though, so it's probably not going to do very much. Let's just check. Oh, there it goes. So this is actually the command line version of Python. You can type in exit bracket, or just click on your window here. Either way, enter, it'll go away. We don't want that. So Python comes with something called idle. You can click on the window, IDLE. So there's idle. You can click on it. It'll be installed already. Now idle will also bring up this command line interface. However, you can go to File, New File. So File, New File. This will allow you to create a Python file just like we always have done, the way we used to do in Genie in class. So I kind of miss those days. I miss being around you guys in the class, actually. I really do. But let's see. We're going to do, so I'm just going to do a basic program, see what happens. For C in range. It's a good review for some of you. If you haven't done, most of you have not done any Python for a while, myself included. So for C in range 0 to 10, print hello world. And this should print 10 times. So we can go to run module. It's going to ask us to save it first. Oops, I didn't save it, so you're going to go to OK. It's going to ask you to save it somewhere. I'm just going to save it to my desktop. I'm just going to save it as test.py because I'm going to delete it later. And once it does that, it's running it. So here we go, hello world, and it shows it 10 times. So we know that Python's installed. I'd like you to use Visual Studio Code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in, you can go to Google or you can just do it from your search engine, Visual Studio Code. Okay, so go to a new window in Google, type in Visual Studio Code. This takes you to Visual Studio Code. You can go to download Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code was developed by Microsoft, but it's an excellent interactive development environment. Remember, we wanted to use this with our class, but we couldn't because of some administrative issues with the school board computers. But now, because we're all using computers at home, we can do this. So either Mac or Windows or maybe Linux, probably Windows or Mac though. And Windows, it's giving you some options, user, system, or zip. If it's your computer, you can do system. If someone is sharing this computer with you, you might want to use user. Again, if it said 32-bit, make sure you, on that properties that we did earlier, make sure you select 32-bit, otherwise 64-bit. I'm just curious, what happens if I press this button? It's just downloading it. For me, that's going to be fine. I know I have a 64-bit machine. That's probably the default. If you have 32-bit, you probably want to click on 32-bit down there. This is going to take just about half a minute or so. And while it's doing that, now I know that I did post a video with a Microsoft video on how to install all this. And that's perfect. I just wanted to make this video to kind of get my feet wet. Making videos is new to me. So my next video is going to be an actual Python video, but maybe some of you would prefer this video to the Microsoft one. Top extensions, Python is the #1 extension. You can also use it for all these other languages as well that you can see on my screen. I believe Java works as well. I guess Java, here we go. You can click on each language as you go. In grade 12, the grade 12 ICS 4U class is Java, but we're going to be using Python. Okay, so it's there, it's done. So I'm going to click on the exe, and it should start the install process. I accept the agreement. Next. Next. We'll create a program shortcut. That's fine. I wanted to create a start menu folder, so I'm just going to go to next. Create a desktop icon. I'm going to do that because I like having that. You may or may not. What else? Add to path. You definitely want that. And everything else should be fine. So you can click, let's just see. Add open with code. No, we don't need any of those things. Those are optional. I wouldn't bother with those. Next. And then install. And this might take a little while. Depending on your machine, it'll take a different amount of time. And once it's installed, there we go. And it gives you the choice to launch Visual Studio Code. Now I know that the instructions for installing Python were in those videos, the Microsoft videos. And right here, install support for Python. So I'm going to click on Python, and hopefully this will work. This window will reload after installing additional support for Python. Okay. Installing additional support for Python. Help VS Code by allowing Microsoft to collect usage data. So it's going to automatically collect usage data unless you opt out. So that's up to you. Personally, it doesn't bother me, but if you want to opt out, click on opt out, and then it won't collect any data from you. Alright, so it looks like it should be done. We should be able to create a Python file now. I'm going to end the video. Oh, there it goes. So it kind of just reloaded. I think that Python is now installed. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to create a Python project in Visual Studio Code. Okay, thanks. See you later.